on the third day of Christmas. Another dip into Christmas lore. In case you don't know this, I am Francesca Gentile, clinical shamanic sexologist, bringing you the science and soul of sex, but also the heart and soul of history. And I love going into deep dives of the etymology, which is the history of words, and just really the source material behind our traditions. For me, that's brought more joy, more meaning, more depth and satisfaction to my life. So welcome here on the third day of Christmas. 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. But we're looking at 3 French hens. We're also looking at Mother Christmas, Mother Light, the goddesses of Christmas. What? And going deeper into why this time of year in the Northern Hemisphere is so sacred, so holy. We've got Diwali and Kwanzaa and Hanukkah and solstice and Christmas. And these roots of these traditions go back 20, 30, 50,000 years. I mean, this is deep into our epigenetics, our soul epigenetics as human beings. It's really exciting to me to excavate into this. I hope it's as exciting for you. And I always love your questions and comments. Hey, Derek. Happy holy days to you. And so great that you're here, all of you, any of you that are here, because it is believed that what we do, what we say, who we see, what we give, what we receive at this time of year actually sets the tone for the new year. So we're here together, really bringing that light, bringing that love, bringing that connection into our new year. And even if some of us are feeling like we can't physically see each other, we can still see each other here and attune to each other with our breath, with our being. So 12 days of Christmas. Why do we even have that? We have that because of the shift from the Gregorian to the Julian calendar. We have that because in ancient times, we were looking at the moon calendar, and we would, because the earth around the sun has a little wobble, the months are not exact, and we would end up with these extra days. Extra years are good too, but days at the end of the year. And these were called interstitial, between the stations of the year, and anything that is between dusk and dawn, anything that is between our breaths, anything that is that nexus point is considered very magical. And what we do between the worlds or between things can affect all the worlds. In a way, any of our masses or ceremonies or temple practices are all between the worlds. The moment we say, this is sacred space, and delineate that space, sanctify that space, we are between the worlds of past, present, and future, between the worlds of hope and possibility. We're between the worlds, and we can create new worlds. Perfect time here at the end of the year to be completing one year and envisioning the next. But let's look a little bit at some of the Christmas. This is something I just got today. Woo. And I love that we have 2 masculine figures of the Christmas, but we also have 2, La Befana and Babushka. And I love that this little box actually has some stories that I will share with you. We've got, as you might guess, grandmother Babushka is from Russia, and There are several holiday gift givers in Russia. Not only Grandfather Frost, but also Kolyada, the elf maiden, who rides around in a sleigh on Christmas Eve, rewarding carolers with presents. The most prominent gift bringer, however, is Babushka, a grandmotherly figure who wanders through towns and countrysides carrying a candle and a basket of gifts. She is similar to the Italian Befana, but let's just introduce Babushka first. Anybody out there have some grandmothers in their life that, that they loved, that made a big difference for them? Let me see if I can get this without quite as much glare for you. This is our grandmother Babushka carrying her candle. Isn't she adorable? And I was raised by my Nona, my grandmother, lived with us part of the year. She spent part of the year with my mother and part of the year with my Aunt Carrie. And so grandmothers, ideally, are very positive figures that have a little bit more wisdom, a little bit more space. The minute I had my son Dylan, I thought, oh my God, people have children to become grandparents, because I could see that I was kind of a little bit of an anxious mother. But then as a grandmother, I would just feel so relaxed. And so it has come to be. I'm not an actual grandmother. He doesn't have any children yet. But I noticed that with all the babies and little ones around me, I have so much love. And I have just a sense of relaxation. I have a sense of, I know what to do. Love them. Love them. Love them. Just when in doubt, love them. And put myself in their shoes and really not worry, but bring them love, bring them the light, bring them the light of love. So she has her goodie basket. My grandmother always saved chocolates and little goodies for me. And then she has the light of love, the light of insight, the light of wisdom that she brings. So we have this grandmother figure, also in many cultures, part of the maiden mother crone, the crone that gives that more perspective, that deeper wisdom. The goddess Hecate in the Greek pantheon carries those torches again of wisdom, of light, of choice. And this is a main theme in winter lore, is the return of the light, keeping the light alive, whether it's, the oil lamp that, lasts for 8 days, whether it's the Diwali, whether it's Saint Lucia with her crown of candles. We have this sense of the light, the importance of the light in the darkness. So I personally struggle with depression. Hey, Vicente. Great to have you here. Welcome. I personally struggle with depression, which is its own darkness. And the dark time of the year, when we have less vitamin D, when we're more closed in, can really increase that sense of isolation, that sense of hopelessness. So this was a time of year, this dark time of the year with the long nights and the short days, where our grandmothers would also be our storytellers. They would harvest not only the fruits and vegetables, but they would harvest. My grandmother was always in the garden. They would harvest stories. And my grandmother would tell these wonderful Sicilian versions of classic fairy tales. And I have to tell you, the Sicilian versions were very intense and somewhat bloody. So it would be, and then they cut off their nose. And then they, it's like, but of course, to a child in a warm house with good food, it was also fun to have a little bit of that fear as well. And then we have, and this is La Befana. This is the Italian grandmother, mostly in southern Italy, although she's become popular. She's sweeping here. And she also has that bag of presents that she's carrying on her back. And she is also one of those grandmotherly In Italian, we call them nonna. Spanish, of course, would be abuela. Let me know what you call grandmother in your country, in your language. Is she also looks to give with kindness, with generosity. So we have this sense of the grandmother. We have this sense of the light bringer. But I also, the wisdom keeper and the light bringer. But I also want to talk about these two. We have, of course, we have Father Christmas, Santa Claus. But let me see if I can say this one the correct way. I'm probably not going to say it the correct way. It's Swedish. And it's Jolomten, who in Denmark and Norway, Swedish, Danish, Norwegian, considered the household guardian. And you leave porridge out for this one. And one of the things I thought was really kind of charming about this one, he's on friendly terms with the household cat. And let's see, I think it says, yes, and is often found hiding in the straw goat and lives in the outhouse, the attic, or the barn. You are awesome for living in the outhouse, the attic, or the barn. You deserve porridge. And we'll notice that he's dressed in red and green, with the cap, which helps keep the heat in. So the little wool felt hats that would keep the heat in. We have the cat here in the background, also gives the toys. And then here we have, Father Christmas, Santa Claus in the red. Now, one of the interesting things about the red and white is it harkens back, it connects to the Amarita mushroom. Am I saying that correct? That is the red mushroom with the little white spots on it, which is a hallucinogenic mushroom. So it was believed that, similar to, the female shamans and their brooms who would take their magic flying potions, and it's believed that they were actually having psychedelic trips, and that it was, that they maybe thought that they were riding on brooms, was, you always have the broom in your hand. So that was a concept. And then it was felt that this idea that, the red and white actually comes from honoring that mushroom. Now, when we look further back, and I'm so fascinated by this stuff. When we look further back, we see in the Laplander people, in the, the Arctic peoples, coming down through Norway, Sweden, Denmark, coming down into Slovakia, the Ukraine, etc., coming down from the kind of the Arctic circle, we see female shamans. And female, the etymological or root of the word shaman is actually female. And these female shamans, we were nomadic, and we would all of us, all of our genders were nomadic. And there was more than two genders back then. And we would follow the herds, and the female shamans and or the people that were like the non-binary shamans would take these mushrooms and have their vision quests. They would wear the red. They would either wear the red or the green and red. So these colors, and they were called they honored the reindeer. So they even had names that would honor them as reindeer shamans, because part of the role of a shaman is to make sure that there's balance, health, and harmony in the tribe. Balance, health, and harmony in the tribe. And so part of the role of the shaman is, where are the herbs? Where are the reindeers? How can we keep everyone healthy emotionally, physically, in terms of our community, as well as individually? And then if we don't already know how to do that, we have a vision quest so that we can get that information. So that the original shamans, the original gift-giving shamans, were these female shamans who connected with the deer, the reindeer. So the reindeer was their spirit, was an actual guide, but also a spirit guide on the spirit realms. And they considered their goddess also the deer mother who brought the winter sun through her horns. Like she brought it. Oh, and by the way, sorry, Rudolph, but the male reindeer actually lose their horns in winter, and the female reindeer actually keep them. So if the deer have horns, they're actually female reindeer. Who knew? Who knew? The things we find out. And so we start to see where there's these really deep traditions that are, they're kind of in our blood, breath, and bone. And let's not forget the 3 French hens. Why French hens? Why 3? So the number 3 is very sacred to the Celts, very sacred to the Sicilians, very sacred to many peoples as a number of balance, like a number of the pyramid. And one possible interpretation of that 3 is faith, hope, and love, or faith, hope, and charity. And it's always my wish at this dark time of the year that we get to look within and without. We get to be on our vision quests to find faith, hope, and love within and share it with one another. And that we cook the magic of this time of year to create more peace and beauty in our world. So 3, for that sacred faith, hope, and love. 3 French hens, because the original word for hen in Latin was Gallus. And at the time when Latin was being spoken and some of these songs were being created, France was actually called Gaul. So we have chicken, Gaul. And so believe that the hens were considered French. Oh my God, how language and history works. So we have the 3 French hens really inviting us into a sense of balance. May our days between the years be filled with magic, be filled with beauty, be filled with faith, hope, and love, so that our new year can be truly, truly blessed. 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. Mwah! Blessings of the holy days